Peyton Manning. Abstract. Peyton Williams Manning, born March 24, 1976, is an American former professional football quarterback who played in the National Football League (NFL) for 18 seasons. Considered to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, he spent 14 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts and was a member of the Denver Broncos in his last 4 seasons. Manning played college football for the University of Tennessee, leading the Tennessee Volunteers to the 1997 SEC championship game in his senior season. He is the second son of former NFL quarterback Archie Manning and older brother of former NFL quarterback Eli Manning. Manning was selected by the Colts as the first overall pick in the 1998 NFL Draft. From 1998 to 2010, he improved the fortunes of the struggling Colts franchise and helped transform them into consistent playoff contenders. During his tenure as starting quarterback, Manning led the team to 8 division championships, 2 AFC championships, and 1 Super Bowl title in Super Bowl 41. The franchise's first in over 3 decades, as well as their first since relocating to Indianapolis, after undergoing neck surgery that forced him to miss the entire 2011 season. Manning was released by the Colts and signed with the Broncos, serving as the team's starting quarterback from 2012 to 2015. He contributed to the Broncos clinching their division each year, and his playing career concluded with a victory in Super Bowl 50. Manning holds many NFL records, including AP MVP awards, 5 Pro Bowl appearances, 14 4,000-yard passing seasons, 14 single-season passing yards, 5,477 in 2013, single-season passing touchdowns. He is also tied with Sammy Baugh for the most first-team All-Pro selections for a quarterback, 7, and is third in career passing yards, 71,940, and passing touchdowns, 539. A 2-time Super Bowl winner and the most valuable player of Super Bowl 41. Manning is the only starting quarterback to have multiple appearances and win the Super Bowl with more than one franchise. Nicknamed the Sheriff due to his tendency to audible prior to the snap, Manning was one of the most recognizable and parodied players in the NFL. Teams led by Manning typically used the hurry-up offense in place of the standard huddle. High school career. Manning attended Isidore Newman School in New Orleans, Louisiana, and led the Greenies football team to a 345 record during his 3 seasons as the starter. He was named Gatorade Circle of Champions National Player of the Year in Columbus, Ohio, Touchdown Club National Offensive Player of the Year in 1993. While at Newman, he began wearing the number 18 jersey in honor of his older brother Cooper, who was forced to give up football due to spinal stenosis. Younger brother Eli also wore the number when he became starting quarterback. Newman has since retired the number 18 jersey, and it can be seen hanging in the school. Monsieur Manning was among the most sought-after high school players in the country and was recruited by about 60 colleges, led by Florida, Florida State, LSU, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, and his father's alma mater, Ole Miss. College career. Manning chose to play college football for the University of Tennessee Volunteers under head coach Philip Fulmer. Many fans were surprised that he did not pick the Ole Miss Rebels, for whom his father Archie played, and Peyton's parents received several angry phone calls and letters. He became Tennessee's all-time leading passer with 11,201 yards and 89 touchdowns and won 39 of 45 games as a starter, breaking the Southeastern Conference (SEC) record for career wins. As a freshman, Manning began the season as the third-string quarterback. In the season opener against UCLA, Manning was one of 3 quarterbacks to come off the bench after starter Jerry Colquitt suffered a season-ending injury on the seventh play of the game. However, Manning was not able to generate any offense, only handing the ball off 3 times, and was pulled from the game. 2 weeks later, in a 310 loss to the number 1 Florida Gators, Manning completed his first collegiate pass. During the season's 4th game, against Mississippi State, starter Todd Helton got injured and Manning took over. The Vols lost 2,421. But Manning threw his first touchdown in the game. He was named the team's starter and remained so for the rest of his college career. In his first start, the following week against Washington State, the Vols won 109. They won all but one of their remaining games, finishing the season 84 with a 4,523 victory over Virginia Tech in the 1994 Gator Bowl. He finished his first collegiate season 89 of 144 for 1,141 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Manning and the Vols started off the 1995 season with victories over East Carolina and SEC rival Georgia, before heading off to Gainesville to face off against the rival Gators. Against Florida, he threw for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the Vols to a 3,021 half-time lead. However, the Gators outscored the Vols 417 in the second half, winning 6,237. This was the Vols' only loss of the season, as they won their remaining 8 regular season games, including a 4,114 win over rival Alabama. The Vols defeated Ohio State by a score of 20-14 in the Citrus Bowl. The Vols ended the season ranked 3rd and Manning came in 6th in Heisman Trophy voting. He finished his sophomore season 244 of 380 for 2,954 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. The Vols opened the 1996 season ranked number 2 behind Nebraska and one of the favorites to win their national championship. However, after winning their first 2 games against UNLV and UCLA, the Vols again lost to Florida by a score of 3,529, with Manning throwing 4 interceptions. After winning their next 4 games, the Vols were upset by Memphis. Despite Manning passing for 296 yards, the Vols won the remainder of their games, including a 4,828 win in the Citrus Bowl over Northwestern, a game in which Manning passed for 408 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was named the game's MVP. His 243 pass completions and 63.9% completion percentage led the SEC that year. In the 1996 season, he finished with 3,287 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He finished in 8th place in the Heisman Trophy voting. Manning completed his degree in 3 years, a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Communication, and was projected to be the top overall pick in the NFL draft, but returned to Tennessee for his senior year. In his senior season, the Vols opened the season with victories against Texas Tech and UCLA. But for the 3rd time in his career, Manning fell to Florida 3,320. The Vols won the rest of their regular season games, finishing 101, and advanced to the SEC championship game against Auburn, down 207 in the second quarter. Manning led the Vols to a 3,029 comeback victory, throwing for 373 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was named the game's MVP, but injured himself in the process. The number 3 Vols were matched up with number 2 Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. If Tennessee won and top-ranked Michigan lost to Washington State in the Rose Bowl, the Vols would have won the national championship. However, the Vols' defense could not stop Nebraska's rushing attack, giving up over 400 rushing yards in a 4,217 loss. As a senior, Manning won numerous awards. He was a consensus first-team All-American, the Maxwell Award winner, the Davy O'Brien Award winner, the Johnny Unitas Award winner, and the Best College Player Aspire Award winner, among others. He finished as the runner-up to Charles Woodson in the 1997 Heisman Trophy voting. In 2005, Tennessee retired Manning's number, No. 16. One of the streets leading to Neyland Stadium has been renamed Peyton Manning Pass. Manning finished his final season at Tennessee with 3,819 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. While at the University of Tennessee, Manning excelled academically and was elected to Phi Beta Kappa Society in 1997 and awarded their National Football Foundation National Scholar Athlete Award. In 1996, while attending the University of Tennessee, Manning was accused of sexual assault by trainer Jamie Ann Knockright after he pressed his genitals against Knockright's face during a foot examination. Manning claims that he was just pulling a prank by mooning another athlete in the room as Knockright bent over to examine Hi Monsieur. Both Knockright and the other athlete deny Manning's story. Knockright settled with the university for $300,000 for its alleged failure in 4 incidents and resigned from the school. She had initially made a list of 33 complaints about the school. Knockright filed a defamation lawsuit against Peyton Manning and 3 other parties in 2002, claiming that Manning defamed her in a book he wrote with his father and author John Underwood. The lawsuit was settled after the court ruled there was sufficient evidence for it to be heard by a jury. Terms of the settlement were not disclosed due to confidentiality terms. Manning was inducted into the Tennessee Athletics Hall of Fame in 2016. He was also named the 2016 Tennessean of the Year by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Manning was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame in 2017, his first year of eligibility for the honor, and was inducted during a ceremony in December. He joined his father Archie in the Hall of Fame, making them the first father and son duo to both be inducted as players. Professional career. Manning was selected by the Indianapolis Colts with the first overall pick of the 1998 NFL Draft. He would start as a rookie and go on to play for the Colts for 13 full seasons before being sidelined by a neck injury, which cost him the entire 2011 season. After recovering from the injury, he was released by the Colts and joined the Denver Broncos, for whom he played from the 2012 season through the 2015 season. Excluding the year lost to the neck injury, Manning played in 17 NFL seasons. Manning is considered to be one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. He was named the NFL's most valuable player a record 5 times, was named to the Pro Bowl a record 14 times and named a first-team All-Pro 7 times. As a starter up to the end of 2015 season, he had a career winning percentage of .702 in the regular season. He held the NFL record for career touchdown passes from 20,142,019, and the career passing yards record, achieved 2015. The most commonly cited criticism of Manning's professional career is that despite great success and gaudy statistics during the regular season, he did not enjoy similar levels of success in the postseason. His career postseason record as a starter was a more modest 14-13, compared to his regular season record through the 2015 season, which was 18,679. Manning won 2 Super Bowls and played in 2 others, being named MVP of XLI, while losing XLIV in an upset, and managing just 1 successful touchdown drive in each of XLVIII and 50. During the early part of Manning's career, his record-breaking stats were written off because of the Colts' postseason failures. Conversely, he posted poor statistics in the 2015 regular season and Super Bowl 50, which would be his final season, but nonetheless won his second Super Bowl thanks to his team's defense. Manning is also the only quarterback in NFL history to make the Super Bowl 4 times with 4 head coaches, Dungy, Caldwell, Fox and Kubiak. Despite concerns about his arm strength and mobility, Manning was selected first overall in the 1998 NFL Draft by the Indianapolis Colts, although many considered Washington State quarterback Ryan Leaf his rival for the first selection in the draft, and Leaf's quarterback rating was higher. All 6 experts Sports Illustrated consulted believed that Manning was superior. 5 said that they would take him first in the draft. Sid Gilman said of Manning, "This is a pro quarterback." The Colts scouts initially favored Leaf, but the team's management and coaches liked Manning's attitude, particularly as Manning showed up prepared to a scheduled interview meeting with the Colts staff. While Leaf arrived late, Colts general manager Bill Polian, who had the final say on the draft selection, recalled Manning saying, "I'll leave you with this thought. If you take me, I promise you we will win a championship. If you don't, I promise I'll come back and kick your ass." Polian said that, contrary to what he had heard about their athletic ability, Manning, far and away, had a stronger arm, threw a tighter ball than Leaf. In Manning's rookie season under head coach Jim Mora, he passed for 3,739 yards with 26 touchdowns, set 5 different NFL rookie records including most touchdown passes in a season, most interceptions, 28, in a rookie year, and was named to the NFL All-Rookie First Team this year in his NFL debut. Manning was 21 of 37 for 302 passing yards for 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. He threw his first career touchdown, a 6-yard pass to Marvin Harrison, in the fourth quarter of the 2,415 loss. In Week 4, against the New Orleans Saints, he threw a 78-yard touchdown pass to Marshall Faulk in the 1913 loss. Manning's first win came against fellow rookie Leaf, 17-12 over the San Diego Chargers in Week 5. 2 weeks later, Manning faced off against Steve Young. He threw 3 touchdowns, tying a Colts rookie record, but the 49ers kicked a late field goal to win 3,431. In November against the New York Jets, Manning threw for 3 touchdowns in a 2,423 win. He was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for this performance. It was the first game-winning drive of Manning's career, as he threw the game-winning touchdown pass to Marcus Pollard. Manning was certainly a bright spot in the 1998 season for the Colts with 3,739 passing yards and 26 passing touchdowns, but he also threw a league-high 28 interceptions as the team struggled to a 313 record with the defense that gave up more than 27 points per game. The Colts lost many close games, including 5 games in which they had led by double digits at some point. Manning and the Colts opened the 1999 season with a 3,114 victory over the Buffalo Bills, but gave up a 287 lead the following week against the New England Patriots and lost 3,128. After defeating the San Diego Chargers 2,719 in a game in which Manning threw for over 404 yards, scored his first professional rushing touchdown, and was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week, they lost again to Miami by a score of 3,431. The Colts responded by winning 11 of their remaining 12 games, finishing 133 in the AFC East Division. In Week 11, against the Philadelphia Eagles, Manning threw a then-career-high 80-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Wilkins in the 4,417 victory. The 10-game turnaround from the previous year set an NFL record. His 7-game winning drives were tied for the most in NFL history until Matthew Stafford had 8 in the 2016 season. As the second seed in the AFC, the Colts earned a first-round bye and faced Tennessee in the divisional round of the playoffs. The Colts lost 19-16 to the Super Bowl-bound Titans, and Manning was limited to 19 of 42 passing attempts for 227 passing yards and 1 touchdown run. Manning finished the year with 4,135 passing yards and 26 passing touchdowns, and was named both second-team All-Pro and to the Pro Bowl. both firsts for High Monsieur in the Pro Bowl. He passed for 270 yards with 2 touchdowns in the 5,131 loss. The Colts started the 2000 season with a 2,714 victory against the Kansas City Chiefs in the season opener, in which Manning had 267 passing yards and a touchdown. However, they blew a 210 lead against the Oakland Raiders in the following game, a 3,831 loss. Manning finished with 351 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The Colts responded with a Monday Night Football victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a 4,314 win in which Manning threw for 430 yards and 4 touchdowns. Manning was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for this performance. The Colts won 4 of their next 5 games, including one against the New England Patriots in which Manning posted the first perfect passer rating of his career, but then lost 4 of the 5 games following that. The Colts regained their momentum, winning their final 3 games, including a 3,110 win over the Minnesota Vikings on Week 17. Manning threw for 4 touchdowns in the win and was again named AFC Offensive Player of the Week. The win gave the Colts a 106 record as well as a wild card spot in the playoffs. In the wild card round, the Colts fell to the Dolphins 2,317 in overtime. Manning passed for 194 yards and a touchdown in the loss. He finished the season with a league-high 357 pass completions for 4,413 passing yards and 33 passing touchdowns and was named second-team All-Pro and to the Pro Bowl. At the Pro Bowl, Manning threw 2 touchdown passes. Manning and the Colts introduced the no-huddle offense and used it to great effect in a Week 1 rout of the New York Jets, 4,524. 2 weeks later the Colts advanced to 20 with a win over Buffalo. Behind Manning's 421 yards passing, he was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for this game. However, the Colts lost the following week in a 3,817 loss to the New England Patriots, which was the first meeting between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. The Colts continued their slide, losing their following 2 games. The Colts briefly rebounded, winning 2 games, but then lost 7 of their last 9 games. In the stretch, Manning threw a career-high 86-yard touchdown pass to Marcus Pollard in the 3,420 loss to the New Orleans Saints, after a 4,021 home loss to the 49ers, in which Manning threw a career-high 4 interceptions in that game. Coach Jim Mora uttered his famous "playoffs don't talk about playoffs" press conference. Despite the 610 record, Manning finished the season with 4,131 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, and 4 rushing touchdowns as the offense produced the second most points in the league. However, the defense allowed the most points in the league and Mora was fired after the season. Before the 2002 season, Tony Dungy became Manning's second head coach in the NFL. The Colts started off the 2002 season with a 41 record, before a 3-game losing streak sent them to 44. The Colts responded by winning all but 2 of their remaining games, including a 3,513 upset of the Philadelphia Eagles in which Manning had a perfect passer rating for the second time in his career, giving them a 106 record and a spot in the playoffs. However, the Colts were pummeled by the New York Jets in the wild card round, 410, with Manning passing for only 137 yards to fall to 0-3 in the playoffs to start his career. He finished the 2002 season with 4,200 passing yards and 27 passing touchdowns and was named to the Pro Bowl team this year. In the Pro Bowl, Manning completed 5 of 11 passes for 100 yards and a touchdown in the 4,523 victory. The 2003 Colts began the season 50 including a 5,521 blowout of the New Orleans Saints in which Manning recorded his third perfect passer rating game and threw 6 touchdown passes, earning him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. On Monday Night Football, against the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Colts trailed 3,514 in the final 5 minutes. After one short touchdown drive, the Colts recovered the onside kick. Manning threw a 28-yard touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison on 4th and 6 to make it 3,528. With 1:41 remaining, Manning got the ball back and drove the offense 85 yards for the game-tying touchdown. He set up the winning 29-yard field goal in overtime for a 3,835 win. It was the only time in NFL history a team won a game after trailing by 21 points in the final 4 minutes of regulation. Manning passed for 386 yards in the game. After an overtime loss to the Carolina Panthers, the Colts won all but 3 of their remaining games, finishing 124. On November 30th, the Colts hosted the '92 New England Patriots in what would be the beginning of the NFL's top rivalry of the 2000s. The Colts trailed 3,110 late in the third quarter before Manning threw 3 touchdown passes in a span of 6 minutes to tie the game, trailing 3,834 in the final minutes. The Colts had 3 plays at the 1-yard line to try to score the winning touchdown. Running back Aaron James was stopped on 4th down by linebacker Willie McGinest and the Patriots won. In a Week 14 win against the Atlanta Falcons, Manning threw for 5 touchdowns and was named Defensive Player of the Week a second time. He also earned AFC Offensive Player of the Month honors for the month of October. In the wildcard round, Manning and the Colts defeated the Denver Broncos 4,110 for his first playoff win. He passed for 377 yards and 5 touchdowns in the game, earning him a perfect passer rating, his second of the season and the 4th of his career. After the game, Manning was awarded Player of the Week honors for the 3rd time that season. In the divisional round, Manning led the Colts to a 3,831 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. In the victory, he passed for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. In the AFC Championship, Manning was shut down by the New England Patriots' top-ranked defense and posted the 3rd lowest passer rating of his career at 35.5. The Patriots' defense intercepted Manning 4 times and sacked him another 4. As the Colts lost the game by a score of 2,414. During the season, Manning was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month for September and was named the NFL co-MVP along with Titans quarterback Steve McNair. Manning also received the Aspire Award for Best NFL Player. Manning led the league with 379 pass completions for 4,267 passing yards and threw 29 touchdowns. He was named first-team All-Pro and to the Pro Bowl. He passed for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Pro Bowl. A 5,552 loss. The 2004 Colts opened the season with a 2,724 loss to the New England Patriots, after place kicker Mike Vander Jagt missed a game-tying field goal in the closing seconds of the game. The Colts won their next 4 games, including a 4,531 win over the Green Bay Packers in which Manning threw 5 touchdowns, earning him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors, but then lost their next 2 games to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. Despite Manning throwing for 840 yards combined in the 2 games, the Colts responded well, winning their next 8 games before losing their final regular season game to Denver, a game in which Manning played only the first series. During the month of November, Manning was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week twice. Once for his 5-touchdown performance in a 4,914 blowout of the Houston Texans and once for his performance in a 419 road win against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving, in which he threw 6 touchdowns in less than 3 quarters. Due to his performances in November, Manning earned AFC Offensive Player of the Month honors. He was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for a 4th time in the Week 16 game against the San Diego Chargers, where he led the Colts to a 3,431 victory after trailing by 15 in the 4th quarter, with the Colts facing a 4th and 4 at their own 26. Manning waved the punt team off the field and completed a 19-yard pass to wide receiver Reggie Wayne for the first down. He finished the drive with a 21-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Stockley, his 49th touchdown pass of the season, breaking Dan Marino's record of 48. After the 2-point conversion to tie, Manning got the ball first in overtime and set up the winning field goal. The Colts clinched the AFC's 3rd seed with the win. During the season, Manning threw for 4,557 yards, had a then-record 121.1 passer rating and a then-record 49 touchdown passes while throwing only 10 interceptions. Manning's 2004 season was voted the 2nd greatest passing season of all time by ESPN in 2013. He achieved this despite the 2004 season being his only season of his career where he attempted less than 500 passes. He finished with a league-high 13.6 yards per pass completion and 9.2 yards per pass attempt in 2004. His 9.9% touchdown passing percentage is currently the highest in NFL history. His 49 touchdown passes is currently the 3rd highest ever, and his 121.1 passer rating is the 2nd highest ever. He was selected as the 2004 NFL MVP, drawing 49 of 50 votes. Was named NFL Offensive Player of the Year and was named the best NFL player at the Aspire Awards for the 2nd consecutive year. Manning also received the Aspire Award for Best Record-Breaking Performance for his 49 touchdown passes. The Colts finished the season with a 124 record and their 2nd straight AFC South title. The Colts scored a franchise record 522 points. 3 Colts receivers had 1,000-yard seasons with at least 10 touchdowns that season. Also a record. Sports statistics site Football Outsiders calculates that Manning had a best season ever by a quarterback, play-for-play, in 2004. In the wild-card round against the Denver Broncos at home, Manning passed for 458 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 4,924 victory. However, the Colts' 2004 season ended in Foxborough for a 2nd straight season with a 203 loss against New England in the divisional round, when Manning recorded a season-low passer rating of 69.3. It was Manning's 7th consecutive loss to the Patriots in Foxborough, and the Colts' 3 points were their lowest single-game point total since their opening game of the 2003 season. Manning was named a Pro Bowl starter. In the Pro Bowl, he threw 3 touchdowns in a 3,827 victory and was named the game's MVP. Manning was also a unanimous first-team All-Pro selection. In 2005, the Colts had a greatly improved offense over that of recent years. Combining this with their offense, they won their first 13 games, including a 4,021 rout of the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. This was Manning's first road win against the Patriots in 8 attempts, and his 3 touchdown passes earned him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. By Week 15, the Colts had a perfect 130 record, and had secured the AFC South and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Nevertheless, head coach Tony Dungy made the decision to play all of his regular starters against the San Diego Chargers. However, the Colts played a subpar game against the Chargers and fell short of the win. The score was 2,617. Manning finished the 2005 season with 3,747 passing yards. the first time he had thrown for under 4,000 yards since his rookie season in 1998. Largely because Manning sat out much of the final 2 games with the top AFC seed clinched. His quarterback rating of 104.1 was the highest in the league for the season. In the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Steelers visited the RCA Dome for the second AFC divisional round game of the 2005 season. In the fourth quarter, with only a few minutes left in the game, Manning threw what looked to be the game-ending interception to safety Troy Polamalu. But the interception was overturned. The Colts went on to score, and got the ball back down 3 points near the end of the game. On fourth down, Manning was sacked near his own goal line, and the game seemed to be over as the Steelers were 1 yard from a touchdown. On the next play, the ball was fumbled by running back Jerome Bettis and picked up by Colts defender Nick Harper, who appeared to have a clear path down the sideline for what might have been the game-winning score. However, Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger dove in front of Harper and tackled him by the leg, saving a touchdown. On the ensuing drive, the Colts moved down the field to the Steelers' 27-yard line. Before Mike Vanderjagt missed a field goal as time ran out, Manning finished the loss 22 of 38 for 290 yards and a touchdown. Manning came in second in voting for the MVP award to Seattle Seahawks running back Shaun Alexander, ending his streak at 2 years. He was named the 2005 winner of the Walter Payton Man of the Year award and nominated for the FedEx Air Player of the Year award, along with Tom Brady and Carson Palmer. Manning was also named first-team All-Pro for the third consecutive year and named to the Pro Bowl squad. In the Pro Bowl, he threw 1 touchdown pass and 3 interceptions in the 2,317 loss. Manning opened the 2006 season against his brother Eli's New York Giants on Sunday Night Football. It was the first NFL game with starting quarterbacks that were brothers, and Peyton's team won 2,621. Manning passed for 400 yards against the Houston Texans in a 4,324 victory, which earned him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. A second trip to New Jersey, this time to play the New York Jets, produced another Colts win. After taking the lead twice in the fourth quarter, Manning had to lead a third scoring drive, this time finishing with a 1-yard quarterback sneak rushing touchdown in the last minute for a 3,128 win. In a road game against the Denver Broncos, Manning again led 3 scoring drives in the fourth quarter in a 3,431 shootout win. He completed 32 of 39 passes for 345 yards and 3 touchdowns, following a second straight season with a win at New England, then a home win against Buffalo. The Colts were the NFL's last unbeaten team at 90. Their first loss would come in a 2,114 road loss to the Dallas Cowboys, plagued by a run defense that would allow over 100 yards in every game. The Colts were 114 heading into their final game against the Miami Dolphins. Manning threw for 282 yards, 2 touchdowns and rushed for another touchdown. The Colts won 2,722, were AFC South Division champions, and clinched the 3rd seed in the AFC playoffs. Manning was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He ended the regular season with 4,397 passing yards and a league-leading 31 touchdown passes. His passer rating, 101.0, was the highest in the league for the 3rd year in a row. Manning helped the offense set an NFL record for third down conversion rate in a season, 56.1%. Despite 3 interceptions, Manning completed 30 out of 38 passes for 268 yards and a touchdown as the Colts beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the wild card round by a score of 238. The following week, the Colts were limited to 5 field goals and no touchdowns, but defeated the Baltimore Ravens 156 Manning was 15 of 30 for 170 yards and 2 interceptions in the divisional round victory in the AFC Championship against the rival Patriots. The Colts trailed 143 when Manning threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown by Asante Samuel to give New England a 213 lead. Manning led the Colts to 32 points in the second half for a 3,834 victory. The final score coming late in the fourth quarter as Manning led the Colts on an 80-yard touchdown drive to take the lead for the first time in the game. He finished the game with 349 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 rushing touchdown. The comeback was the largest deficit ever overcome in a conference championship, completing 25 of 38 passes for 247 yards with a touchdown and 1 interception. Manning led the Colts to a 2,917 victory over the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41 and was voted Super Bowl MVP. Manning, who had been criticized for failing to win big games, exercised his big game demons with the win. In years past when our teams come up short, it's been disappointing, he told reporters. Somehow we found a way to have learned from some of those losses and we've been a better team because of it. For his role in the Colts championship run, Manning was awarded the ESPY for Best Championship Performance. Manning was again named to the Pro Bowl and was also named second-team All-Pro. In the Pro Bowl he played only 2 series, passing for 67 yards. Following the Super Bowl win, Manning agreed to restructure his contract to save the Colts $8.2 million in salary cap space. Manning's Colts opened the NFL season with 7 wins, pitting them against an undefeated Patriots squad in a matchup that was being called Super Bowl 41.5. Manning and Adai helped the Colts to a 137 halftime lead, and an early fourth-quarter touchdown upped the lead to 2010. However, Brady led the Patriots to 2 late touchdowns to hand Manning and the Colts their first loss of the season. 2,420. Manning finished the game with 225 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown, and rushing touchdown. Manning did not bounce back from the loss well. Against the San Diego Chargers, he threw for a career-worst and franchise record 6 interceptions. Despite this, he was able to rally the Colts from a 230 deficit to 2,321, and gave Adam Vinatieri an opportunity to take the lead with a field goal. However, Vinatieri's 29-yard attempt missed, and the Colts fell to 72. Manning did not play particularly well against the Kansas City Chiefs either, throwing no touchdowns. However, he managed to lead the Colts on a late drive for a game-winning field goal, rushing for 2 yards on 4th and 1 in the process. Manning finished the game with 163 passing yards, allowing him to overtake 40,000 in his career. The victory was Manning's 100th. The Colts won their next 5 games, securing yet another AFC South title, as well as the AFC's second seed in the playoffs. In that stretch was a Week 13 2,825 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars where he was 20 of 29 for 288 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. For his performance against the Jaguars, he was named as the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. In the final game of the regular season, Manning played only 2 series before being replaced with backup Jim Sorgi. The Colts lost the game to the Titans, 16-10. Manning finished the season with 4,040 passing yards, 31 touchdown passes, and a quarterback rating of 98.0. In the divisional round, Manning and the Colts lost to the Chargers, 2,824. Manning helped the Colts to 4 leads but could not lead a final touchdown drive for the win. Manning finished the game with 402 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Peyton was widely viewed during Super Bowl 42 as he cheered on brother Eli and the New York Giants in their upset of the previously undefeated New England Patriots. Manning was named a Pro Bowl starter and passed for 147 yards and a touchdown in 3 series of the 4,230 loss. On July 14, 2008, Manning had surgery to remove an infected bursa sac in his left knee. Manning, who had worn a knee brace due to problems since he was in college, sat out all 4 preseason games and missed most of training camp. In the first regular season game at the new Lucas Oil Stadium, the Colts lost 2,913 to the Chicago Bears. The following week, they fell behind 150 to the Minnesota Vikings in the second half before rallying to win the game on Adam Vinatieri's 47-yard field goal. Manning passed for 311 yards as the Colts avoided their first 0-2 start since Manning's rookie season. Week 3 matched the Colts with the division rival Jacksonville Jaguars. Manning threw 2 interceptions in the game, including one that was returned for a touchdown by Rashean Mathis. Jacksonville rushed for 236 yards and held the ball for over 41 minutes. Still, trailing by 6 points late in the game, Manning led the Colts on a 77-yard touchdown drive to take a 2,120 lead. Jacksonville kicker Josh Scobee made a 51-yard field goal to win the game and drop the Colts to a 12 record. For the 3rd week in a row, Manning used the 4th quarter to bring the Colts back from a 2,710 deficit in the last 5 minutes against the Houston Texans to a 3,127 victory. It was the first time an NFL team had won a game in regulation after trailing by 17 points in their last 5 minutes. Manning threw a 7-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 6 to rookie tight end Tom Santi to make the deficit 2,717. Houston quarterback Sage Rosenfels, starting for the injured Matt Schaub, then fumbled the ball on a scramble, and it was returned 68 yards for a touchdown by Gary Brackett. After another Rosenfels fumble, Manning threw the 5-yard game-winning touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne. The Colts scored 3 touchdowns in 2-10. On October 12, Manning led the Colts to a 313 blowout win at Lucas Oil Stadium against the Baltimore Ravens to avoid their first 0-3 start at home since the 1997 season. Manning was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the 17th time in his career for his effort of 3 touchdown passes and 271 yards passing. It was revealed during the game by CBS commentators Jim Nantz and Phil Simms that Manning had a second surgery on his knee before the season started. Colts coach Tony Dungy confirmed this report the day after the game. The Colts suffered their largest margin of defeat of the season, 3,414, against the Green Bay Packers the following week. Manning threw 2 interceptions that were returned for touchdowns. The following week, the Colts went into Tennessee on Monday Night Football to face the 60 Tennessee Titans. They led 146 in the 3rd quarter, but Tennessee scored 25 unanswered for a 3,121 victory and almost assured the Colts they would not win the AFC South Division title for the first time in 6 seasons. At 34, the Colts opened up November with their annual showdown against the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. Tied at 15 in the 4th quarter, Manning set up Adam Vinatieri for a 52-yard field goal that proved to be the winning points in an 18-15 victory. Manning completed 21 of 29 passes for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Colts were 44 halfway through the season and still alive in the AFC playoff race. In a Week 10 road game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had the league's highest-ranked offense, they trailed 177 in the 2nd quarter before Manning found tight end Dallas Clark for a 2-yard touchdown to end the half 17-14. Down 2017 in the 4th quarter, Manning found running back Dominic Rhodes uncovered for a 17-yard touchdown pass that would put their Colts up 2,420 for the rest of the game. It was Manning's 4th game-winning drive. 35th of his career. Of the season, he completed 21 of the 40 for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was the first time the Colts have won in Pittsburgh since 1968. 12 straight losses before this win. Against the Houston Texans, Manning passed for 320 yards and 2 touchdowns while leading 5 consecutive scoring drives in a 3,327 victory. The third in a row for the Colts. Manning won AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the second time this season. 18th time. Career. In a road game against the San Diego Chargers, Manning threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. In a 2,320 victory, the interception snapped a career-best streak of 140 pass attempts without an interception. After the Chargers rallied from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to tie the game, Manning led the game-winning drive by completing a 14-yard pass to Marvin Harrison on 4th and inches at midfield. Adam Vinatieri kicked a winning 51-yard field goal 3 plays later. It was Manning's 5th game-winning drive of the season. Manning passed for a season-low 125 yards in a road game against the Cleveland Browns. But the Colts won their 5th straight game by a final score of 106, in a 353 victory against the Cincinnati Bengals. Manning threw 3 touchdown passes, while completing 26 of 32 passes for 277 yards. It marked the 11th straight season Manning had thrown at least 20 touchdown passes, the second longest streak ever. Against the 0-3 Detroit Lions, the Colts found themselves in a 2,121 game in the fourth quarter. Manning led his 6th game-winning drive of the season and the Colts pulled away 3,121. It marked their 7th straight win, 7th straight season with 10-plus wins, and they became the only team in NFL history to have a winning streak of at least 7 games in 5 straight seasons. Manning completed 28 of 37 passes for 318 yards and 1 touchdown, needing a win to clinch the 5th seed in the playoffs. Manning had one of his best career performances in Jacksonville on Thursday Night Football. He completed his first 17 passes of the game, in addition to completing his last 6 completions against Detroit. Manning's 23 straight completions fell one shy of the NFL record. The Colts trailed 140 in the first half and 2,414 to start the fourth quarter. Manning led his 7th fourth-quarter win of the season and the Colts put the game away with the defensive touchdown for a 3,124 victory to clinch a 7th consecutive playoff berth. Manning completed 29 of 34 passes, 85.7%, for 364 yards and 3 touchdowns. It increased his NFL record streak of seasons with 25 touchdown passes to 11. Manning and the Colts tied an NFL record by winning 3 games in a season in which they trailed by at least 14 points. For his efforts, Manning won AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the 3rd time in the 2008 season. It was the 19th time he has won the award, passing Dan Marino for the most all-time since the award was originated in 1984. He also was selected as the FedEx Air Player of the Week. With the Colts' playoff seeding secured, Manning only played the opening drive in a shutout against the division-leading Titans in Week 17. He completed all 7 of his passes for 95 yards and a touchdown, extending his NFL record to 9 seasons with 4,000 yards passing, and also extended the record to a 6th straight season. He led the Colts to at least 12 wins. At the end of the 2008 season, Manning was named NFL MVP for the 3rd time, tying Brett Favre for the most MVP awards in NFL history. The day following the MVP award, the Colts played their 2007 nemesis, the Chargers, in their wildcard playoff game, down 14-10 at the half. Manning put the Colts ahead 17-14 in the third quarter as he completed a 72-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Reggie Wayne. However, the Chargers tied the game in the fourth quarter as kicker Nate Kading nailed a 22-yard field goal. When San Diego won the overtime coin toss, they scored a touchdown on the first possession, ending the Colts season for the second consecutive season. Manning was 25 of 42 for 310 yards and a touchdown in the loss. Following the end of the season, Manning's head coach, Tony Dungy, retired. Under new head coach Jim Caldwell, Manning started the 2009 season with a victory by throwing for 301 yards. In Week 2, Manning led his 29th fourth-quarter comeback, 38th career game-winning drive, by throwing for 303 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Despite only having the ball for 14:53, the lowest time of possession for a winning team in the NFL since they began tracking the statistic. In 1977, Manning was named AFC Offensive Player of the Month for the fourth time in his career in September. Against the Seattle Seahawks, Manning passed for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns for his fourth consecutive 300-yard passing game, set a new franchise record. Against the Houston Texans in Week 9, Manning became the first quarterback to pass for over 40,000 yards in a decade. He threw a career-high 25 passes in the first quarter, most in any opening quarter since 1991, and had a career-high 40 pass attempts in the first half. He set a franchise record for most 300-yard passing games in a season with his 7th 300-yard effort of the season. In Week 10, a 3,534 victory over the New England Patriots, he was 28 of 44 for 327 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. His performance against the Patriots earned him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. 2 weeks later, against Houston, Manning claimed his 34th comeback win in the fourth quarter, tying him with John Elway and Johnny Unitas for the second most in NFL history. On Week 15 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Manning won his 23rd consecutive regular season game, breaking Jim McMahon's NFL record of 22 straight wins with the Chicago Bears from 1984 to 1987. At the end of the regular season, Manning was awarded his 4th MVP, breaking the NFL record for most MVPs by a single player. He was also selected to the All-Pro team for the 5th time in his career. He finished the regular season tying his then NFL record with 7 game-winning drives in 2009. In the divisional round against the Baltimore Ravens, Manning threw 2 touchdown passes late in the first half to build a 173 halftime lead. He completed 30 passes for 246 yards in leading his 8th straight victory over the Ravens. In the AFC Championship against New York Jets, Manning overcame a 176 deficit late in the second quarter to lead the Colts to 24 unanswered points. In a 2017 win, the 11-point comeback was the third largest in a conference championship game. Manning set a playoff record with his 7th 300-yard passing game in the postseason. In Super Bowl 44 against New Orleans Saints, Manning led the Colts to a 100 lead after their 2 first-quarter drives, throwing a touchdown pass to wide receiver Pierre Garron to cap off a 96-yard drive, tied for longest in Super Bowl history. After running just 6 plays in the second quarter, the Colts led 106 at halftime. The Saints recovered an onside kick to start the second half and took their first lead, 13-10. Manning led a go-ahead touchdown drive to regain the lead, leading 17-16 at the start of the fourth quarter. Place kicker Matt Stover missed a 51-yard field goal for the Colts. The Saints scored the go-ahead touchdown and 2-point conversion to take a 2,417 lead with the 5:42 left. Manning took over and moved the Colts to the Saints' 31-yard line. Facing a 3rd and 5 with 3:24 left, His pass intended for Reggie Wayne was intercepted by Tracy Porter, who returned it 74 yards for a critical touchdown and a 3,117 Saints lead. Manning drove the Colts down to the 5-yard line in the last minute, but his fourth and goal pass was dropped by Reggie Wayne at the goal line. The Saints won their first Super Bowl in franchise history, dropping Manning to 99 in the postseason and a 11 record in the Super Bowl. Manning finished the Super Bowl with 333 passing yards on 31 of 45 attempts, with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. In a season-opening loss in Houston, Manning set career highs with 57 pass attempts and 40 completions, throwing for 3 touchdowns and 433 yards, the fourth highest opening weekend total ever. In his third game, Manning passed for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, marking the first time since 1960 a quarterback began a season with 3 consecutive games of at least 3 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. Against the Kansas City Chiefs, Manning failed to throw a touchdown for the first time in 2010, but led the Colts on a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, 45th of his career, to hand the Chiefs their first loss of the season by a score of 199. In Week 6 against the Washington Redskins, he passed for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the playoffs. That was 68 career games with 300-plus yards passing, moving him ahead of Dan Marino, 67, for the most in NFL history. Week 9 against the Philadelphia Eagles marked his 200th consecutive regular season start. Against the New England Patriots, Manning passed for 396 yards, 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, the second time Manning threw 4 touchdowns in a game that resulted in a loss. This broke a tie with Dan Marino for second most all-time. The next week resulted in the largest margin of defeat at home in his NFL career, 3,614 to the San Diego Chargers. Against the Tennessee Titans, he went over 4,000 yards passing for the 11th time in a season, and tied Dan Marino with his 63rd regular season game with 300-plus yards passing. Manning was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for this game. The Colts ended up winning the AFC South for the 7th time in 8 years, and Manning became the first quarterback in NFL history to lead his team to 9 consecutive postseason berths. 20,022,010. It was the 208th consecutive regular season start of his career, breaking Gene Upshaw's record. For the season, Manning finished with an NFL record 450 completions on 679 attempts, third most in history, and a career-high 4,700 yards passing. The Colts season ended in a 17-16 defeat to the New York Jets in the wild-card round of playoffs. Manning finished what would be his final game with the Colts 18 of 26 for 225 yards and 1 touchdown. In 2010, Manning was chosen as the 14th smartest athlete in sports by Sporting News on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2011. He was chosen as the second best player in the league by his peers, Tom Brady, on Peyton Manning in 2011. The Colts placed their franchise tag on Manning on February 15, 2011. On July 30, 2011, the Colts signed Manning to a 5-year, $90 million contract after negotiations in which he made it clear that he did not need to be the highest-paid player in the NFL. After a May 23 neck surgery, Manning could not use the Colts facilities for practice and workouts due to the NFL lockout. Reluctant to have witnesses to his recovery, he used the Colorado Rockies baseball team's trainers at Coors Field in Denver. Manning was unable to complete his throwing motion, and his arm strength had significantly diminished. Based on an MRI, doctors told him in the late summer that he needed spinal fusion surgery and that at his age they could not guarantee his return to the NFL. On September 7, the Colts officially ruled Manning out for the season opener against Houston, ending his consecutive start streak of 208 games, 227 including playoffs. The team signed Kerry Collins out of retirement and named him interim starting quarterback. After seeking other opinions, Manning had the second surgery on September 8. Manning stated that while he did intend to play during the 2011 season, he would not fight the front office to stay off injured reserve if his roster spot was needed. Manning started practicing throwing footballs again in mid-December, with teammate Joseph Adai even claiming his passes looked game-ready. Ultimately, Manning did not play a single game in the 2011 season, and the Colts went 214 without him. Only the third season since Manning was a rookie that the Colts did not win at least 10 games, with the Colts having the first overall pick in the upcoming 2012 draft, which contained highly rated quarterback Andrew Luck out of Stanford. And with Manning due a $28 million roster bonus, he was released on March 7, 2012. Earlier, the Colts had dismissed Vice Chairman Bill Polian, who in his previous capacity as general manager had drafted Manning, general manager Chris Polian, and head coach Jim Caldwell, as a precursor to the rebuilding of the team this year. In an emotional press conference, Manning told Colts fans, "Thank you for letting me be your quarterback." Upon his release, Colts owner Jim Irsay announced that no Colt will ever wear the No. 18 jersey again, and it was formally retired on March 18, 2016. On the NFL Top 100 Players of 2012, he was ranked 50th by his peers despite not playing in the 2011 season. Manning was one of the most highly sought-after free agents going into the 2012 season. Several teams sought out to meet with Manning, including the Miami Dolphins, the Tennessee Titans, the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. After visiting both the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos, Manning ultimately selected Denver after meeting with John Elway, a retired Broncos Hall of Famer quarterback who is now the team's executive vice president of football operations and general manager, and Broncos head coach John Fox. Manning reached an agreement with the Broncos on a 5-year contract worth $96 million on March 20, 2012. Although the number 18 is retired in honor of quarterback Frank Tripucka, he gave Manning permission to wear it. On August 9, 2012, Manning made his first appearance as a Bronco in a preseason game against the Chicago Bears, where he completed 4 of his 7 passes for 44 yards, and was intercepted once by Bears safety Major Wright. Manning made his regular season debut as a Denver Bronco in the primetime game on the first Sunday of the 2012 season, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the game, Manning completed 19 of 26 passes for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He posted a 129.2 QB rating in the 3,119 win, and made history in the third quarter when he connected with wide receiver Demaryius Thomas on the 71-yard touchdown pass. The touchdown was Manning's first in the NFL with a team other than the Colts, and marked the 400th of his career, making him the third quarterback, after Dan Marino and Brett Favre, to accomplish the feat and the fastest of the 3 to reach that mark. In a Week 6 game against the San Diego Chargers, he was 24 of 30 for 309 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception in the 3,524 victory. In the game, the Broncos trailed 240 at halftime and Manning led the Broncos to 35 unanswered points. His performance against the Chargers gave him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors, his first since coming to Denver, despite the preseason concerns about his recovery. By late October, ESPN stated that Manning has silenced the critics about his arm strength. Manning was later named to the 2013 Pro Bowl, his 12th, in Week 17, a 383 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. He was 23 of 29 for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns to close out the regular season. He earned AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors for his performance against the Chiefs. Overall, he finished the 2012 season with 4,659 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. The Broncos made the playoffs and earned a first-round bye, but lost 3,835 in double overtime in the divisional round to the Baltimore Ravens, who went on to win Super Bowl 47 that season. Manning finished the game 28 of 43 for 290 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. On February 2, 2013, Manning was awarded the National Football League Comeback Player of the Year award and was named a first-team All-Pro selection, in addition to finishing second in MVP voting on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2013. He was ranked as the second-best player in the NFL by his peers. On the opening game of the 2013 NFL season, Manning became the 6th player in NFL history to throw 7 touchdowns in a game, doing so against the defending Super Bowl 47 champions, the Baltimore Ravens. He added to this feat by not throwing an interception, tying Y.A. Tittle as one of the only 2 players to have a 7-0 touchdown-to-interception ratio in a single game. His historic performance against the Ravens gave him AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. Against the Oakland Raiders in Week 3, Manning broke the record for most touchdown passes in the first 3 games of a season after throwing 12, surpassing Tom Brady's 2011 record. His performance against the Raiders gave him his second AFC Offensive Player of the Week nod in 3 weeks. In Week 5, Manning threw his first interception of the season. In a win against the Dallas Cowboys, he was intercepted by cornerback Morris Claiborne. 2 weeks later, Manning returned to Indianapolis for the first time in the regular season since being released by the Colts. In an emotional pre-game ceremony, the Colts showed a tribute video to Manning. In his first game back at Indianapolis, he was 29 of 49 for 386 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, but was sacked a season-high 4 times as the Broncos fell 3,933. The Broncos bounced back from the loss with a 4,521 victory over the Washington Redskins, in which Manning had 354 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. In the next game, a 2,820 victory over the San Diego Chargers, he had one of his most efficient games of the season with 330 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns for a 135.2 quarterback rating. The next week, he had 323 passing yards and a season-low 1 passing touchdown as the Broncos defeated the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 2,717. The next game for the Broncos was a huge showdown with the New England Patriots. The Broncos raced out to a 240 lead at halftime. However, the Patriots came back and won 3,431 in overtime. In the loss, Manning had a season-low 150 passing yards to go along with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. After the tough loss, the Broncos defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in the following game by a score of 3,528. He had 403 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in the victory. He followed that up with 397 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns in the 5,128 victory over the Tennessee Titans. In Week 16, against the Houston Texans, Manning broke Brady's record for most touchdown passes in a season with 51 on a 25-yard touchdown pass to tight end Julius Thomas. For the 3rd time in the 2013 season, he earned AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. In the Week 17 season finale against the Oakland Raiders, He had 266 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns to finish the season with 55 touchdown passes and a league record 5,477 yards, breaking Drew Brees' mark by 1 yard. His 450 completions were at the time tied for second most all-time. The Broncos scored an NFL record 606 points, becoming the first team ever to eclipse 600 points in a season. They had more 50-point games in a season than any other team in NFL history, with 4 Broncos receivers recorded at least 10 touchdowns, an NFL record, and Manning set a season record with 9 games with 4 or more touchdown passes. His 115.1 passer rating ranks 7th all-time, and he joined Brady as the only 2 quarterbacks at the time to achieve a passer rating of 110.0 or higher in more than one season. The Broncos went on to win their divisional round playoff game against the San Diego Chargers by a score of 2,417. Manning finished 25 of 36 for 230 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. In another postseason meeting between Manning and Brady, the Broncos defeated the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship by a score of 2,616. Manning was 32 of 43 for 400 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns in the victory. Manning became the 3rd starting quarterback to reach the Super Bowl with 2 teams, after Craig Morton and Kurt Warner. In Super Bowl 48, Manning's Broncos lost to the Seattle Seahawks by a score of 438. Manning was up against the Seahawks' young starting quarterback Russell Wilson, who idolized Manning and attended one of Manning's passing camps as a teenager, and later met Manning at a Broncos pre-draft interview. The Seahawks' number 1 ranked defense proved too much for the Broncos' number 1 ranked offense to overcome, while the Broncos' defense also struggled due to injuries. The Broncos' first play from scrimmage set the tone for the game. While Manning was stepping forward to call an audible, center Manny Ramirez snapped the ball too early and it flew past Manning's head into the end zone, where running back Knowshon Marino downed it for a safety. Manning set a Super Bowl record with 34 completions, but the record-setting offense did not record a first down until the second quarter, and did not score any points until the final seconds of the third quarter. While Manning threw 1 touchdown pass and 1 successful 2-point conversion, he also threw 2 costly interceptions, one of which was returned for a touchdown by Malcolm Smith in the second quarter. On the NFL Top 100 Players of 2014, he was ranked as the best player in the league by his peers. On August 28, 2014, Manning was fined $8,268 for taunting D.J. Swearinger during a preseason game against the Houston Texans, with the Broncos' win in their opening game of the 2014 NFL season against the Colts. Manning became, along with Brett Favre, one of only 2 starting quarterbacks in NFL history who have beaten all 32 teams in the next game. Against the Kansas City Chiefs, he had his most efficient game of the season by going 21 of 26 for 242 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns for a 143.9 passer rating in the 2,417 victory. The next game was a Super Bowl 48 rematch with the Seattle Seahawks. In the 2,620 overtime loss, he had 303 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. On October 5, 2014, in a stellar performance against the Arizona Cardinals, Manning tied his career high with an 86-yard touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas, threw his 500th career touchdown pass to Julius Thomas, and also tied Dan Marino for the most 400-yard games by a quarterback. On October 19, 2014, against the San Francisco 49ers on NBC Sunday Night Football, Manning threw his 509th career touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas, passing Brett Favre to become the NFL's all-time leader in passing touchdowns. His historic touchdown was part of a 318-yard, 4-touchdown passing performance where he earned AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors for the 27th and final time in his career. Overall, he finished the 2014 season with 4,727 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. By the end of the regular season, Manning would be selected to his 14th Pro Bowl appearance, tying him with Tom Brady, Tony Gonzalez, Bruce Matthews, and Merlin Olsen for most Pro Bowl selections in a career. The Broncos finished with a 124 record and earned a first-round bye. However, his season ended after the Broncos lost in the divisional round of the playoffs to his former team, the Colts, 2,413. Manning finished 26 for 46 for 211 yards and a touchdown. However, he went just 7 for 18, 38.9%, in the first half, his lowest completion percentage in a first half of any game since 2007. After the season ended, the Broncos and head coach John Fox parted ways. On the NFL Top 100 Players of 2015 list, he finished as the 5th best player ranked by his peers. After much speculation, Manning announced in the off-season that he would return for his 18th season in the NFL, this time under his 5th different head coach, Gary Kubiak. In the season opener against the Baltimore Ravens, Manning's play seemed to have deteriorated, going 2,440 for 175 yards and 1 interception. But a pick-six by cornerback Aqib Talib and late interception by Darian Stewart aided the Broncos in their 1913 victory. In a Week 2 game against the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, he passed for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception as the Broncos won 3,124. In the next game, a 2,412 victory over the Detroit Lions, he passed for 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception for a season-high 101.7 passer rating. On November 1, against the Green Bay Packers, he finished with a season-high 340 passing yards and an interception in the dominant 2,910 victory. The Broncos got off to a dominant 70 start to the season. However, the streak ended in a loss at Indianapolis, losing 2,427. During that winning streak, and the loss in Indianapolis, Manning played better, putting up over 250 yards in 6 of the 7 games, and he threw 9 touchdowns. However, he never had a game without an interception, bringing his 8-game TDINT ratio to 913. And the Broncos needed a hard-working defense to contribute for victories. In Week 10, in the second divisional game against Kansas City, the game's biggest highlight was Manning breaking Brett Favre's record for career passing yards, with a 4-yard pass to running back Ronnie Hillman in the first quarter. Despite the accomplishment, however, Manning went 5 for 20 for 35 yards and 4 interceptions with a 0.0 passer rating before head coach Gary Kubiak benched him during the third quarter. Brock Osweiler filled in for Manning for the rest of the game as the Broncos lost 2,913. Manning's record lasted until the 2018 season, when Drew Brees broke it in Week 5 against the Washington Redskins. A day later, sources said that Manning had suffered a bout of plantar fasciitis. It was later announced that this injury would keep him out of Week 11, marking the first time Peyton had missed a game in a season he played. Osweiler replaced Manning and performed well in a 17-15 win over the Chicago Bears, leading to questions about whether Manning would retain his role when healthy in a Week 12 showdown against the New England Patriots. The next day, head coach Gary Kubiak, citing Manning's injuries, announced that Osweiler would start against New England. On December 15, it was announced that Osweiler would make his 5th consecutive start against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even though Manning had a return to practice and the Broncos had gone 7 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown on offense. Overall, the Broncos went 42 in 6 games without Manning, giving them an 114 record heading into the final week of the regular season. On December 27, 2015, Al Jazeera America released a report conducted by the Al Jazeera Investigative Unit investigating professional athletes' use of performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, which named Manning, among other prominent athletes, as having received illegal drugs from Charles Sly, a pharmacist who had worked at the Cairo anti-aging clinic in Indianapolis during the fall of 2011. In July 2016, the NFL cleared Manning of the allegations and announced that it had found no evidence to support the claims. Manning was listed as active for the Week 17 regular season finale against the San Diego Chargers, but for the first time since his freshman year at college, he was listed as a backup. In the third quarter, with the Broncos down 137, Manning entered the game in relief of Osweiler, who had been intercepted twice and fumbled once. The Broncos went on to beat the Chargers 2,720 and secure the AFC West and the top seed in the AFC. Despite the Broncos' 124 record, Manning had the worst season statistically of his career, as he threw a career-low 9 touchdown passes and 17 interceptions in just 10 games, and posting a quarterback rating of 67.9, the lowest rating of his career, and first time he had a rating below 84 since his rookie season. Manning's 59.8 completion percentage was the second lowest of his career, only behind his rookie season. Manning's 17 interceptions was second to Jaguars quarterback Blake Bortles, who threw 18 interceptions but started all 16 games. The Broncos, by virtue of having the AFC's number 1 seed, earned home field advantage throughout the NFL playoffs. The Broncos defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in the divisional round by a score of 2,316 to advance to the AFC Championship game to host the defending Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. Manning was 21 of 37 for 222 with no touchdowns or interceptions. It was the 17th, and ultimately final, meeting between Manning and his longtime rival Tom Brady. Despite a late comeback attempt from the Patriots, the Broncos won 2018 to advance to Super Bowl 50. Manning threw for 176 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in the win. On February 7, 2016, the Broncos defeated the Carolina Panthers 2,410 in Super Bowl 50 as the Broncos' defense shut down the heavily favored Panthers' top-ranked defense and regular season MVP Cam Newton. Manning finished the game 13 of 23 for 141 yards with 1 interception while being sacked 5 times, scoring his only passing points with 3:08 left in the fourth quarter when he connected with wide receiver Benny Fowler for a 2-point conversion, which ended up being the final part of his career. Manning became the oldest starting quarterback to both play in and win a Super Bowl, until Tom Brady surpassed the record at age 41 in Super Bowl 53. Manning also became the first quarterback to start 2 Super Bowls with multiple franchises, with different head coaches each time: Dungy, Caldwell, Fox, and Kubiak, and the first quarterback to lead 2 franchises to a Super Bowl victory. The victory gave Manning his 200th overall win including regular season and playoffs, making him at the time the starting quarterback with the most combined regular season and postseason wins in NFL history. Peyton and Eli Manning played against each other 3 times in their professional careers, not counting Pro Bowls or the preseason. These encounters were colloquially dubbed the Manning Bowl, and Peyton's teams held a 30 record over Eli's teams. The first Manning Bowl was held on September 10, 2006. And Peyton's Colts defeated Eli's Giants by a score of 2,621. The second Manning Bowl was held on September 19, 2010. with Peyton and the Colts besting Eli's team again by a score of 3,814. The third and final Manning Bowl took place on September 15, 2013, and Peyton and the Broncos beat Eli's Giants 4,123. Manning announced his retirement after 18 seasons on March 7, 2016. Manning's final words of his retirement speech were, "I've fought a good fight. I've finished my football race, and after 18 years, it's time. God bless all of you and God bless football." After 18 seasons with the NFL, Manning received the 2016 Aspire Icon Award. He won 9 total Aspire Awards during his career. On October 7, 2017, in a ceremony attended by hundreds of fans, the Colts unveiled a bronze statue of Manning outside its Lucas Oil Stadium. Monsieur Manning was also inducted into the Indianapolis Colts Ring of Honor and became the first player to have his jersey retired by the Colts since the team moved to Indianapolis. NFL career statistics. Source: Career Awards and Records. Additionally, Manning has been named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month a record 8 times. 9 2003, 11 2004, 10 2006, 9 2009, 9 2012, 10 2012, 9 2013, 12 2013, and Offensive Player of the Week, a then record 27 times. Since broken by Tom Brady, Manning holds a number of individual career records. Personal life. Manning was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, the son of Olivia N.E. Williams and former NFL quarterback Archie Manning. He is the brother of two-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning. Some have described the Mannings as football's royal family. Manning married his wife, Ashley, in Memphis on St. Patrick's Day, 2001, a graduate of the University of Virginia. Ashley was introduced to him by her parents' next-door neighbor the summer before Manning's freshman year in college. Peyton and wife Ashley have twins, a son, Marshall Williams, and a daughter, Mosley Thompson, born on March 31, 2011. Manning is a Christian. At age 13, he said, "I committed my life to Christ, and that faith has been most important to me ever since." Manning said his priorities ranked in order are faith, family, friends, and football. Manning said he prays every night and before games and added, "I hope and pray I don't do too many things that displease him before I get to heaven myself. I believe, too, that life is much better and freer when you're committed to God in that way." Manning reportedly memorized the Colts playbook within a week after being drafted, and in 2012 was able to precisely recall the details and timing of a specific play he had used at Tennessee 16 years earlier. During the summer, Archie, Peyton, Eli, and eldest sibling Cooper run the Manning Passing Academy, a 5-day camp which aims to improve the offensive skills of quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. In addition to the Mannings, the camp has included many prominent players from football as coaches, such as Colts wide receivers Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Manning, along with his father Archie, co-authored a book titled Manning, A Father, His Sons, and a Football Legacy, which was released in 2000. The book covers Archie's and Cooper's lives and careers, and Manning's life and career up to the time that the book was released, and examines football from both Archie's and Manning's points of view. Manning wrote about Jamie Ann Knockright, who had accused him of sexual harassment, stating that she had a vulgar mouth. He described his conduct towards her as crude, maybe, but harmless. The trainer sued for defamation, resulting in an undisclosed settlement in 2003, and a court-ordered gag on Manning and Knockright from ever talking about the settlement or each other again. Mark Kiszler, a sports columnist for the Denver Post, in a column about Manning's future plans, said that Manning's net worth is estimated to be in excess of $150 million, and that's not enough money to buy an NFL franchise by himself. Although an ownership group that included Manning as president with a financial stake in the team would be led by a brilliant football mind, he has donated over $8,000 to Republican politicians, among them Fred Thompson, Bob Corker and former President George W. Bush. During the 2016 presidential race, Manning contributed to the campaign of Jeb Bush. On October 26, 2012, Manning purchased 21 Papa John's pizza stores, all in Colorado. He sold his stakes in the stores in February 2018. In honor of Manning, the University of Tennessee offers a Peyton Manning scholarship to incoming freshmen. Manning has been credited with helping to improve the image of the city of Indianapolis. A curator at the Indiana State Museum observed that there is no Super Bowl held here without Peyton. There is no Lucas Oil Stadium without Peyton. Without Peyton, the Colts would probably be in LA right now. He has become one of the NFL's most marketable players, appearing in several television and printed advertisements for some of the NFL's biggest sponsors. Manning hosted Saturday Night Live on March 24, 2007, his 31st birthday. The episode earned the show's highest household rating in more than 10 months in the metered markets. He also appeared on SNL in 2008 and on the 2015 Saturday Night Live 40th Anniversary Special. On May 27, 2007, Manning waved the green flag to begin the 91st Indianapolis 500. On February 18, 2018, he drove the pace car during the 2018 Daytona 500. Before the latter, he made a guest appearance on Fox NASCAR's pre-race show alongside race solicitor and fellow Nationwide Insurance spokesman Alex Bowman. In 2009, Manning guest voiced, with his brothers, Eli and Cooper, on an episode of The Simpsons called Oh Brother, Where Bart Thou?, in which Bart dreams of having a baby brother and sees such famous brothers as the Marx Brothers, the Blues Brothers, the Wright Brothers, the Mario Brothers, and the Manning Brothers. Manning also voiced the character Guapo in the 2017 motion picture Ferdinand. Manning hosted the 2017 Aspire Awards on July 12, 2017. Shortly after beginning his NFL career, Manning started his own charity called the Payback Foundation. The Payback Foundation's mission is to help disadvantaged kids, and focuses its efforts in Louisiana, Tennessee, and Indiana. For his work with this foundation, Manning received the Samuel S. Bearder Award for Greatest Public Service by an individual 35 years or under, an award given out annually by Jefferson Awards. Manning, along with his brother Eli, volunteered their assistance in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. Among the tasks performed, the Mannings assisted in the delivery of 30,000 pounds of water, Gatorade, baby formula, diapers, and pillows to the people of New Orleans. In September 2007, St. Vincent Hospital in Indianapolis renamed its children's hospital to Peyton Manning Children's Hospital at St. Vincent. Manning and his wife made a donation of an undisclosed amount to St. Vincent's and have had a relationship with the hospital since his arrival in Indianapolis. External links. Names in bold are still active.